I wish the tradition wasn't so inviting for a kid to they have to put their hand through there. I wish, why they have to do it this way? Because their hands should not go through there. And I tell you, it's at least every other weekend of the year, I'm telling a kid not to put their hand through that. But they really should hold an overhand. The biggest issue about the cymbals with putting your hand through there, the cymbal's made up of concentric circles, and they all ring. And when you have your hand through the strap, inevitably after they crash, their hand's going to go flat against the cymbal. And they've now dampened half the cymbal, and you're no longer getting the ring. It's also not very good for your wrist. So what I generally like to do with cymbals is make sure they grab them overhand, okay? And again, I go with dominant hand. I'm right-handed, so what I do is crashes are flams, okay? So you want to flam, so you want to hit kind of to the edge, and then, so it's kind of like a cymbal flam. And if my dominant hand is right, then I want to use the gravity toward that, and that way. And if it's a cymbal crash that there's nothing following it for a while, suspend them if you want to. And depending on what the floor situation is, you can get some really interesting sounds off the floor. Now, I learned something last week or the week before. I've never heard this before. I was talking to Lance about this. I thought it was the coolest thing. I've never tried it. I'm going to try it right now. One of my arrangers, his name's Gary E. Parks. He lives in Texas, and he's a percussionist, very fine percussionist. And he'd written a Christmas arrangement for us for next year, and there were several 14 pianos in the piece, including on the crash cymbals. And I thought, well, that's stupid. You can't do a 14 piano on a crash cymbal. So I said, when I sent him the last set of edits, I said, oh, and you should remove all the 14 pianos from the crash cymbals. Well, he didn't do it. And I thought, well, it was an oversight. So when I sent it to the engraver, I had an instruction on there, please remove the 14 pianos from the crash cymbals in measures 25, 38, 40, whatever. And I sent the note to Gary, and I said, oh, by the way, you make sure that you change your original score so when you proofread it, it'll match these instructions. And he said, I wanted the 14 pianos on the crash cymbals. And I said, well, when you crash it, you crash it. And he says, no. You can do a 14. Have you ever done a 14 piano on a crash cymbal? I've never tried it, but have you done one of these? No. Okay, I'll show you what he told me. We'll see if it works. And here's a regular crash. The 14 piano, he told me, is you crash it and damp one. Hello. And suspend the other cymbal. That's kind of cool.
It is effective.
So, and he said, all percussionists in Texas that go to college this technique, and it's called the something or other technique.
Yeah.
He actually, I should look up the email. There was a name for it. Yeah. And I said, I'm 60 years old, and I just learned something new today. So I said, we'll put it back.